listening to S1Live, Sheffield's #1 student radio show.
Good afternoon, I'm Tom and welcome to S1Live. Coming up on today's show.
I don't think arranged marriage would be on the top of his list right now because of what happened in his first marriage. It was such a disaster.
Yes, we will be talking about arranged marriages and the controversy that surrounds it. We will be speaking to Rizwan, who is an ex-head teacher and actual supporter of arranged marriage.
Hi, it's Jade, also coming up on today's show. Yes, it's here. The final film in the Twilight Saga has had its opening in London. The stars of the film have been out on the red carpet. Our reporter has been asking your opinions on the film. Have you seen the film itself? And send us your thoughts to S1Live.
Hi, I'm Will. Follow us on Twitter at S1Live.
Hey, it's Will. Also coming up on the programme for you today, our sports reporter Sammy Shue has got a bit of this.
What a start for Sheffield Wednesday! It's Mikel Antonio! 1-0.
And a little bit of this.
That is the cries from Sheffield Wednesday fans. Boos ring around Hillsborough.
And also a little bit of this.
But please, Mr. Mandaric, please replace this manager. Please, before it's too late.
He doesn't sound too pleased. I suggest you stay tuned for that one. Also coming up in this week, we have Anne Ashford-White, who hosted a fundraising event yesterday to support Neurocare after her husband was diagnosed with a brain tumour. And will be joining us live here in the studio to discuss her husband's incredible story.
Hi, this is Jen and you're listening to S1Live.
All that's come up for you on today's programme first, but here's Rayla with a roundup of today's latest news and sport headlines.
News.
Sheffield Hallam students are in the top 5 for offenders of binge drinking, a report has revealed. Student Beans, a student-based website, has named and shamed Sheffield Hallam students as 5th in the league table for booziest undergraduates. On average, our students drink 24.5 units per week, whilst the average for men is 21 units and the average for women is 14. Brian Tweedale is a lecturer at Hallam and says things need to change.
Well, I think the university should support a healthy drinking message to encourage students to look after themselves and to try and drink in moderation. After popular club nights, attendance can slip off. So I think most academics, if they're aware of what the club nights are, anticipate the next day they've got an early lecture that students won't attend. That certainly doesn't set them up for a healthy and long life.
Rotherham Council are investigating the removal of children from foster parents who were members of the UK Independence Party. 3 Eastern European children were taken away from a couple in their 50s because the council said that UKIP had racist policies. The council say they were acting in the interests of the children because they are from ethnic minority backgrounds. The decision by the council has been condemned by all the main political parties. UKIP's leader Nigel Farage says that on a political viewpoint he is not surprised that Labour have done this.
Politically, I'm afraid not surprised at all. This is typical of the kind of bigotry, I'm afraid, that we get from the Labour Party and from Labour-controlled councils. It was the Labour government that opened the doors to uncontrolled mass immigration into this country on a scale that we've never seen in the history of these islands, and then anybody that even attempts to discuss or debate the issue is written off as being racist.
The bad weather is continuing to affect the nation's transport system. Here in South Yorkshire, Rotherham train station has been flooded, causing delays of several hours. The tracks at the station were under 45 inches of water and took over 3 hours to clear. Northern Rail has advised to regularly check news updates for potential delays. And finally, UK is the 6th best in the world education system, a report has shown. The quality was measured on how many people go on to university in the UK and how many students come from abroad to study here. The Global League table by Pearson revealed Finland as first in their rankings.
Hi, I'm Jade and you're listening to S1Live.
Thank you, Rayla. Right, we're going to be discussing arranged marriages very shortly, but first, I was want to get back to one of the stories that Rayla was talking about, which was the student-based study which revealed that Sheffield Hallam is the 5th in the league table regarding the booziest students. Guys, are we surprised by this, or we all go out quite a bit?
I can't say I'm very surprised, to be honest, considering everybody I know is a bit of a heavy drinker, really.
Well, there's one of us in here who is. Yeah, Jade.
Well, I actually think I've calmed down a little bit. But in general, I think students really don't have a lot more to do with the time, do they? Well, obviously, once they've got their important work out of the way. It's not really a lot to do, but...
It comes as part of the culture as well, doesn't it? I think if you go to university, you know that at some point you're probably going to end up going out more than you do work. But I think students probably do get a bit of a hard time for it. I think there's a lot of other people that do drink and students tend to get the blame. But I think it's more part of the culture and it's highlighted more by the fact students do it a lot. But I don't know, Hallam being up there and student drinking, it's quite an interesting statistic even. I'm not sure they should really be putting on their brochure though.
Yeah, well, I think it's an issue that we could talk about all day anyway. It's 3:27 and you're listening to S1Live.
Hey, this is Tom and you're listening to S1Live.
Well, in this day and age, when it comes to marriage, many consider the idea of arranged marriage dated, inconvenient and sometimes even forced. But is this really the case? Can arranged marriage work? And do people still believe in taking this option? Our reporter, Rabia Baig, is here to discuss this topic. Hello, Rabia.
Okay.
Hiya. Well, what exactly are arranged marriages and what do they involve?
Well, arranged marriages are quite common within the subcontinent, especially in India, where the rate for an arranged marriage is 95%, so that's incredibly high. It's usually decided by a parent or an elder within the community, and they find a potential match who would be quite good for the prospective person to get married to, and they meet, and it can depend. The time from the meeting can depend on the engagement or whatnot, so it just really depends.
So do people still choose to go for this option? Like, are they common?
They are quite common from when I've done my research, but in a more modern and up-to-date version. And I was speaking to Hannah, who's actually gone down this route, and she talked about her experiences with me. So would you ever opt for an arranged marriage yourself?
I've actually gone for, like I was saying, the more modern version, which is an introduced marriage. So as a child, I've always known I was going to go for an arranged marriage, but I think just with the days that we're in now, it's changed. So like my friends used to ask me, oh, how's it going to work out? And I actually used to think it would be, you know, your parents would introduce you to someone and you'd say yes or no. That's how I used to think it was. And it's not too dissimilar. It is literally, yeah. So I've gone for the more modern version where my parents have introduced me to boys. We've spoken with the parents' permission, etc., with their, you know, in their homes and stuff, or being able to meet outside, but always with parents' permission. And you just, yeah, that's actually how I've met my fiance, through an introduced marriage.
So is it an easy option to go to? Like, instead of looking for a potential partner yourself, Rabia?
It could be. Some people see it as like a weight off their shoulders because they think their parents have obviously gone out and looked for someone. They're wanting to find someone decent for them. So it could be. But in other ways, it might not be. And as Hannah goes on to mention, she spoke about some of the difficulties she's actually faced.
It's the biggest decision of your life. Right at the beginning, I was very shy. I didn't like talking to boys. So I was like a bit of a robot. Like, I spoke to my sister, well, what do I need to ask? And it was like, well, ask about the background, about jobs, careers, aspirations, the family, this, that, and the other. And it was literally like a checklist. And it was very like a robot and stuff. But then with experience, you feel a bit more comfortable and more confident. But by no means has it been easy. It's been a journey. It is difficult to find that one person that you're willing to commit to for the rest of your life, and trusting someone as well, because there's a lot of time wasters out there, unfortunately.
So are there any cases where arranged marriages haven't actually worked out well?
Well, statistically, the divorce rate for arranged marriages is just 3%, whereas a loved one is 40%, which is quite shocking. But that doesn't always mean they'll end up happily ever after, as was the case with Shazia.
He basically said that, you know, I've called you over to keep my family happy, so that is what I want you to do. And this was literally on the first day that she'd arrived into the UK that he gives her all this, you know, I don't want anything to do with you. She tried everything that she could really do to, you know, make him like her so they could get to know each other. But he was straight out clear to her that, you know, he didn't want her to do anything for him, that he would get used to her. So he didn't really want any contact with her. They had no contact with each other. They didn't sleep in the same rooms. They slept on different beds. He wouldn't speak to her, and everything that she tried after 5 years of trying to make him like her, she just gave up and they got divorced.
So obviously we've heard about these matrimonial websites as well. Are they used?
Some of them are used, but when it comes to matrimonial websites, you've got to be really careful because some people might not claim to be who they are, so you can't be too sure. But I spoke to a couple who actually met through Skype and it worked out really well for them.
Yeah, it was like it's like a dramatic experience. Like she was abroad and I was in another country, so we talked on Skype, we chat on Facebook, and after 3 or 4 weeks, we decided that we are going to we're going to get married. So that's it.
You make it sound so simple. That's it.
Because like it doesn't matter that you have to meet a person if you want to get married to that person. The only thing you require is the understanding, and we developed such good understanding on Skype and Facebook that we decided that yes, we are going to do that.
So do you think that arranged marriages are the way forward?
Personally, I think the more modern version of an arranged marriage is the way forward, and that's probably the option that I would go down. And when I was speaking to Ali, he definitely seemed positive.
I'll suggest him to go for arranged marriage because it saves a lot of money, like dating, movies, pictures, dinners. It will save a lot of money. Just go directly for the wedding and then start dating and everything.
Well, that's very interesting. We've got ex-head teacher Rizwan on the phone, who's in favour of arranged marriages, actually. Hi, Rizwan.
Oh, hello, hi.
Hi, you all right?
Not too bad, thank you.
Good stuff. Could you just tell us, what is your views on arranged marriages, please?
I suppose it means that arranged marriages, we could talk about it from a lot of different perspectives. I suppose it's something that can sort of throw the lid on how people in the West look at, for example, people from non-West countries.
Yeah, do you think that the media actually give an unfair portrayal of what arranged marriage is actually like?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there are a number of reasons why that happens.
What reasons do you think these are?
Well, first of all, there's ignorance. People think that arranged marriages means forced marriages, when in fact it doesn't. And secondly, I'm glad that you mentioned the media, because there is a kind of superiority complex of certain papers and certain media stations where they treat non-European and non-American people as simplistic folk. So, for example, if a marriage breaks down or there are marriage problems in the West, it's the individual who gets blamed for it. So, for instance, some people might say, oh, it was down to alcohol or it was down to a really bad husband. However, if that happens in, let's say, Pakistan or Turkey or Iraq or Iran or Syria or Saudi Arabia, then the culture is blamed. So it's really important to look at that.
Yeah, it's
and
a difficult
I think
one.
the media is very guilty of that.
The question that I think a lot of us have about it in our Western society, obviously, is what about physical attraction? Do you not feel perhaps that with your society that you're missing out on that? I think that's where the translation gets a bit confused.
Well, I mean, physical attraction happens, and there's a lack of understanding of that as well, and there's a lack of understanding of exactly love is. For instance, when you look at physical attraction, and you look at love, and you look at marriage, when we actually look at the statistics, it doesn't add up, because statistics show that so-called, in inverted commas, love marriages are actually less successful than arranged marriages. But I need to go back to the beginning. I think the reason people say that there is an issue with, physical attraction, I think it goes back to the superiority complex. It's this idea that the world has, the modern world has, that, some cultures are inferior, and I think that's where an important premise is.
Okay, I think we've discussed a lot of issues there. Thank you very much for your help, helping us understand a little bit more about this. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
Hey, this is Tom, and you're listening to S1Live.
Okay, guys, we've been getting quite a lot of tweets about this, as expected, so thank you very much for sending them to us. Find us on Facebook or on Twitter, it's at S1. Just to read a couple of them out to you, it's Adram, apologies if I've said that wrong. Some people have said they've had them themselves, it's going perfect. Other people have said that it's okay as long as it's not forced. We've also got a couple of tweets from the same person. Just says that concerning the sports story that we were covering at the start about Dave Jones and the huge task that he's got, and also on arranged marriages, saying that they're wrong and that parents need to ask themselves what's more important, their tradition or their child's happiness. That's covering loads of topics that we've discussed already. Do please keep sending us your thoughts. Here's at S1Live, or find us on Facebook.
Hi, I'm Will. Follow us on Twitter at S1Live.
Okay, moving on now, and no doubt you've all heard, but the final film in the Twilight Saga has had its premiere in London this past week. Thousands of screaming fans turn out to see the stars of the film, Robert Pattinson and Kristen Stewart, amongst many other people from the film. Well, our showbiz reporter Vanessa Liu attended a showing of the film here in Sheffield, and she caught up with its ever-loyal fans as its film comes to a dramatic final close.
It's really good. There's times when it really makes you shock, probably like gas. Okay. And it was just completely amazing. I want them to make another one. Apart from at the end of it, everyone started clapping and cheering. That's how good it was, and it was just it was really good.
I was positively surprised in general by the movie. I don't think it was as good as I anticipated to be, but I think that's my own expectations based on the fact that when you watch any saga such as Harry Potter or any of those that you follow from the beginning to the end, you expect the end to be really dramatic and really amazing, which I did think it was in some ways. I thought the close was nice.
Well, we haven't actually seen any of the others, have we? This is the first one we've seen.
This one. Is that your first?
So yeah, but I've read all the books. I thought the books were amazing, but I thought it was worth going to see the last film. I like Robert Pattinson; he's pretty good. Yeah.
I thought it was pretty good. I didn't really like how it was like the big fight and then it just didn't actually happen.
Yeah,
that was a bit weird.
It was very good. It was really entertaining. And there was quite a twist at the end, which we didn't expect.
And what would you rate it out of 10 at the most?
Probably 10.
A 9?
Yeah.
And
15 for me.
15?
15 out of 10. Yeah.
Okay, that's
I'll come back and watch it again.
You would?
Yeah.
10. Okay.
11.
11.
So I don't know about you guys, but I don't really like the films. I don't know. Have you seen them? Do you like them?
I've not seen them. I've not read any of the books. My mum is a big fan of them, but every time she puts on the DVD, I just run out. I'd rather watch the Antiques Roadshow, if I'm honest. If I'm honest.
See, I've seen a few of them, and I think they are good, but I think that's purely because I like action films. I don't think it's got a hell of a lot to do with the fact that there's two vampires that are madly in love with each other. It's all a bit strange to me.
It's a bit far-fetched. I think that's what most people find a bit strange about it, is it's not particularly based on real life. It's very far-fetched, and it obviously creates a good imagination. But if you like it, and why you like it or why you don't like it, do send us your thoughts via Twitter at S1Live, and we'll read them out later on in the show.
Right, it is 3:39, and we're going to go into some sports.
Hi, I'm Jade, and you're listening to S1Live.
So, as you may have gathered earlier, Sammy Shue was at Hillsborough last night for Sheffield Wednesday's clash with Watford. Sam?
Well, it certainly was a pretty eventful game.
What a start for Sheffield Wednesday! It's Mikel Antonio. He's brought the ball on the inside. He's one-on-one with the keeper. He's placed it bottom corner. 1-0. And it's a goal for Watford. Awful defending at the back from Sheffield Wednesday. They've let the man through. He's struck it bottom corner of Chris Kirkland, who again should be making a save there. And Dave Jones walks out of his tunnel absolutely livid with his players. Watford are back in the game, it's 1-0. And Bothroyd's through, it's Jay Bothroyd, can he score? Penalty to Sheffield Wednesday. Jay Bothroyd pulled down on the inside of the box. Can they make it 2-1? It'll be Chris Lyons to take it. He's just come back from injury, and my word, he'll really want to put this away. He steps up, and he's missed it. Would you believe it? It really does sum up Sheffield Wednesday's season so far. Dangerous free kick to Watford, ripped in the area, and he scored. Free header on the edge of the box. He's headed in past Kirkland's net. The Wednesday fans are very, very frustrated, as you can imagine. Dave Jones wondering what might have been had that penalty gone in. Watford 2, Wednesday 1. I'm just going to let you listen to that, because that is the cries from Sheffield Wednesday fans. Boos ring around Hillsborough as Watford go 3-1 up. Where does Dave Jones go from here? Fans are leaving. We've got over 15 minutes left of the game. That really must sum up what they think about the whole shenanigans at this football club at the moment. 3-1 Watford. What a wonderful goal! It really is a sensational strike. Poor defending from Sheffield Wednesday again. And it's Mark Yates, the former Sheffield United player, who smashes it into the top right-hand corner. The boos ring out again. This place is emptying by the second. Oh, how Yates will have enjoyed scoring against his former club like that. It is now 4-1 to Watford. And, well, I say, where do the fans go from here? They go only one way, home.
Some game then, Sam.
Well, whenever you see 5 goals and a missed penalty, you know it's been a bit of a belter. But with the game aside, I was there to see whether the rumours about Dave Jones, the man who, let's not forget, guided Wednesday to League One promotion last year, could be about to get the sack.
It was shocking, and if it's got to change, simple as that. Tactically it was wrong, attitude was wrong, there was nothing right about the game. We got the start we wanted, an early goal which we hadn't had for weeks, and then put a performance like that in. It's unacceptable.
Until tonight, I've been defending him left, right and centre. I've actually said I thought I didn't see any point in getting rid of him because I don't believe it's good in changing managers all the time. But after tonight, I'm sorry, it seems to be getting some players in who just aren't up to it.
The manager's lost the plot. Unfortunately, he's got to do the decent thing and resign, or the chairman has got to pull the bullet. I've got the utmost respect for what he's done for this club. But please, Mr. Mandarich, if you're listening to this, if you should hear any of this, please replace this manager. Please, before it's too late.
So some unhappy Owls fans there, Sam. Do you think Dave Jones is running out of time to save his job?
It really is a tricky one because me personally, I feel that as a manager that's guided someone to promotion, League One promotion last year, you know, the ultimate prize for Sheffield Wednesday, getting the sack so early into the season, you'd think would be unthinkable, but. 5 losses in a row and a poor run of form before that one victory against Peterborough would suggest that maybe they do need to change someone at the helm. We know that Milan Mandaric is ruthless, and it just may be that now there's been enough time against Dave Jones.
You make a point about Mr. Mandaric, who is famed for sacking managers, a very ruthless chairman. Who do you think could come in and do a better job than Dave Jones at the current moment?
Well, it's interesting. I was talking to a few fans last night as we gathered, and one of them off mic actually said an interesting one. Paul Sturrock, who is I think he's a former Wednesday man himself. He's doing a really good job down at, I think it's Southend at the moment, and it's down there in the bottom, the lower arches of the Football League, but he's doing a good job, and why not Paul Sturrock? If they want change, then Paul Sturrock could be the man.
Well, Mr. Mandaric was in charge of Leicester a few years ago, and the season that Leicester went down back in 2008, he chopped and changed the manager 2 or 3 times. They ended up going down because there was no stability at the club. Is there a danger that Wednesday could fall into the same trap?
Look, there's always a danger that if you were to stick to a losing form, that you could easily go down. But at the same time, last year we've proved that Wednesday chopping and changing their managers actually works quite well. We've seen Gary Megson be sacked, and we've seen Dave Jones come in and guide them to promotion. But who knows, eh? Who knows?
One last one. Are Wednesday going to go down?
No, they are not going to go down. Their squad's too good for it. You've heard it here first.
Let's go, Wednesday fans. You're safe. No problem at all. Right, time is 3:45, and we're going to go over to Will's going to read some more of your tweets.
Hi, this is Jen, and you're listening to S1Live.
We've had loads of tweets from you, thank you, do keep sending them to you. And we've had a couple more, one from Georgina here saying that people often confuse arranged marriages with forced ones. Big difference in arranged marriages have been proven to often be more successful. Do please keep sending us your thoughts, we love to hear from you. We're going to now move on to our final story of the day, and that concerns that each and every year 4,500 people here in the UK are diagnosed with a brain tumour, and many develop when cancer spreads. This year, the Health Secretary has said that when it comes to the survival of brain tumours, the UK has an unacceptable record. Well, yesterday, Anne Ashworth-White organised a fundraising event at her shop, Cocoa Wonderland, in support of neurocare at Sheffield Royal Hallamshire Hospital, and she joins me now here in the studio. Hello to you. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you for inviting me.
It's all right. Do you want to just explain a little bit about your story and the background to it firstly?
So, it was 5 years ago my husband was diagnosed with a brain tumour. It took a long time for us to work out he had it, so he suffered with very severe headaches, sickness and dizziness, and we didn't know what that meant. So it took us quite a while. But luckily, when we were diagnosed, he was treated within about 12 hours. Because he was in the right place. So Neurocare fund the specialist equipment that's in the Hallamshire, so he was really at the right place at the right time.
So for those of us that don't know, what are the sort of first signs? What were the first signs you noticed with your husband? What were the first ways that you realised that there was something wrong?
So like I said, he had really, really bad headaches. He went to the doctors and they actually gave him a spray for hay fever. So he'd been spraying the whole time and not, had no idea. And obviously it was really frustrating for him because he was suffering, he was in a lot of pain, and so, yeah, dizziness, sickness and headaches.
You mentioned that he was treated at Royal Hallamshire. What sort of treatment was that? What was involved with him to try and get him better?
Well, so as soon as they found the brain tumour, so obviously there's a lot of equipment even just to find it, the operation to remove it is actually a really serious operation. It's very dangerous. And so the equipment there is very specialist, and it's like I said, it's only in Sheffield, so we're really lucky that he was there.
So to jump forward 5 years to, in fact, go back a few years even, for when you bought the shop from somewhere where you and your friend, because you're actually a Sheffield Hallam student yourself, or ex-student of yourself with English, you and your friend Kate bought the shop that you both worked in from the people, because it was a business that wasn't working. You decided that you'd go in with her and create this business, which is selling cakes. Tell us what happened from there on in terms of how you got the shop and why you chose to stay with the shop.
So Kate and I have owned Coco for 6.5 years. It's a little chocolate shop with a cafe inside.
Okay.
And we completely fell in love with it. So it was we followed our hearts very much over our heads when we decided to take over. And we wanted to use Coco to help raise money for Neurocare. So we came up with the idea of the party. And Neurocare try and use November as their time to really push the charity. So we thought, why not try this November?
You mentioned the fundraising event that you did. It's a purple themed party.
Yeah.
Tell me more about that.
So the Neurocare brand is purple, so we tried to push the kind of purple theme. So it was our purple party. So we had lots of cakes, so we had like plum cupcakes and violet creams and lots of wine, anything purple related. So we just filled the space with as many delicious food and drinks as we could create.
Now you mentioned that obviously you're doing it to support, so you're supporting it to support Hallamshire Hospital where your husband was treated.
To support Neurocare that create the equipment for him.
Sorry, can I just ask a question? How old is your husband, if you don't mind me asking?
So okay, so he's only 29.
Yeah, because I mean,
really
obviously, brain tumours is something you expect only older people.
That's right. Yeah.
So I was a bit shocked when you came in, and you were a lot younger than I expected you to be. Actually, do you know what the cause of his brain tumour was? Could it happen to anybody? Or
Completely.
Yeah.
It just happened. It was just lucky. It was benign, and so when it was removed, that was it. He recovered and he's fine now.
So he has nothing now anymore, and he doesn't have to go back for checkups or anything. Or
he had a few checkups a few years ago, and they said it's completely fine now.
Crazy, isn't it?
And he's went from not being able to, because when you've come out of brain surgery you have to really recover, and now he's someone that runs marathons. He's a really fit guy. So
wow. Well, I think we all appreciate what you do with raising money and stuff anyway. Every little helps, doesn't it?
Thank you ever so much for coming in to talk to us today.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Thank you.
It's been very nice to have you, and it's a good job that your husband's okay, so thank you for coming in.
Thank
you very much. Well, that's about it for today's show. Coming up for you on next week's show, Jade, what have you got coming up?
Well, we've got ghost hunting in Sheffield, the emergence of unsigned bands here in Sheffield, and we're talking about everybody's favourite topic, sex.
That's all coming up for you on next week's show here on S1Live. We'll hope to see you then. From all of us here, bye!
Bye!